Well, scientists around the world and even here in Alabama are studying this virus, and that includes an assistant professor at Auburn University who says no one is sure just yet if summer weather will kill this virus.
With this virus, it's actually not quite clear. The hope is that, yes, higher temperatures, lower humidity will hopefully limit the survival of these particles on surfaces, especially, the UV from sun. But we also observe quite a bit of infections in Africa, in Puerto Rico, Hawaii, other countries where temperatures are already warm.